I'm Ali Velshi at the bottom of the hour on this final Saturday before Election Day. Right now, Donald Trump is flying west to Reno, Nevada. It's one of 4 battleground states that he's visiting today. He's already campaigned in Florida and North Carolina. He'll end the day in Denver. His running mate, just as busy. Mike Pence is on his way to Fairfax, Virginia. He's already visited Michigan and Wisconsin today. Hillary Clinton, meanwhile, heading to Pennsylvania, where she will join Katy Perry at a free concert in Philadelphia. Clinton began the day in Florida, and that's where Tim Kaine is spending the whole day. He started with a rally in Fort Myers. He's in Sarasota at this hour. He'll end the day in St. Petersburg, where he'll join John Bon Jovi at a Get Out the Vote concert. And with just 3 days to go, wow, that was nearly a slip. 3 days to go. Nearly 40 million people have already cast their vote for president. Those early vote trends now dictating where the candidates are spending the final days of this campaign. Joining me now, Tara Dowdell. She's a strategist and former contestant on The Apprentice. Rick Tyler, MSNBC political analyst and former national spokesperson for the Ted Cruz campaign, and Jason Johnson, professor at Morgan State University and the politics editor at The Root. All of you, thank you for joining us. Rick, let me start with you. Donald Trump is now playing in 11 states in these final days. Hillary Clinton focusing on New Hampshire, Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and North Carolina. For Trump, is he in too many states? Is this too broad in his search to get 270 electoral votes? It seems a little diffuse.
Yeah, he needs to break one of these states. He needs to break into a blue state. If you look at the map, if Hillary wins Florida, it's over. If she wins North Carolina, it's over. She may be even competitive in Georgia. If she wins there, it's going to be over. She's in Pennsylvania because she wants to hold Pennsylvania because Trump has lately been competitive there. She can't let him somehow, if he were to win that state, too many paths open up for him. She's got to win New Hampshire. Of course, that's another competitive state. And the reason he's in so many states is he just is hoping that one of these states, maybe one of these upper Midwestern states, the Rust Belt state, will break open. They talk about Minnesota. I don't see that happening. They talk about Wisconsin, probably not likely. They talk about Michigan. Michigan could be, but they need something to break the blue wall.
Jason, here's President Obama on why people should vote. This was during his interview with Reverend Al Sharpton.
I think a lot of people still can't believe that Donald Trump would be elected president. There may be a complacency setting in. If you supported me in 08, if you supported me in 12, if you think that I've done a good job, if you believe that Michelle's done a good job, everything that we've done over the last 8 years will be reversed with a Trump presidency.
Jason, Clinton is focusing on places like Philadelphia, Cleveland, obviously North Carolina. We're seeing from those early voting turnouts in North Carolina, there's an enthusiasm gap, if we can use that word, amongst African Americans. President Obama seems to be trying to specifically target African Americans and say you could make the difference here.
Well, Ali, I actually disagree. I mean, if you look at it, I've said this before, just because you're Michael Jordan doesn't mean you can't be LeBron. Hillary Clinton was never going to match Barack Obama's numbers when it comes to turnout amongst African Americans. She doesn't have to be as good as Obama. She just has to be better than John Kerry. And if you look at it in that context, she's actually done very well with African Americans in North Carolina. The numbers are down in places like Florida, but they're not down to where they were 8 to 10 years ago. So as long as she maintains her lead, and this is another key thing, you know, Hillary Clinton's going to do better with white voters than Obama ever did. So as long as she does well with white voters and Latinos, black turnout can diminish a little bit. She could still win.
All right, Tara, we should remember that nearly 40 million people have already voted. The record, in some states, it's record turnout. But as Rick was talking about, the Trump campaign has to break into the Clinton early vote firewall. What is it looking like?
I don't think it's looking very good for him because people constantly talked about during this election, they kept saying this is a non-traditional, unconventional election. And yes, it is an unconventional election, but certain political rules still apply. Organizing, organizing, organizing. You still have to run an organized campaign. If you look at Hillary Clinton's schedule of events, they are directly aligned. Her Get Out the Vote rallies are directly aligned with early voting states, with registration deadlines. lines. She's targeting voters. She's going out to pull her votes. Donald Trump has run a cult of personality and anti-Hillary Clinton campaign, and that's what's buoyed him. But I think that his lack of organization is going to come back to bite him. It may have been an unconventional primary, but a lot of the rules that apply to traditional politics, traditional campaigns apply in the general election, and I'm going to tell you, I believe they still apply.
Rick, the president is headed to New Hampshire on Monday. The Trump campaign is feeling pretty confident in New Hampshire. Given how much the polls have tightened, what is Trump's most effective message there?
New Hampshire's always low taxes and jobs, and of course, you know, the president is very vulnerable on Obamacare. The rates have been going up and up and up, and he talks about so many people being insured, except people can't use the insurance because they can't afford the premiums and they can't afford the copays. I think he's very vulnerable there. So it's a combination of Obamacare and the track record there, and the fact that, look, the economy just has been limping along. We've gotten some good numbers over and over again, but they're small. We could do much better.
Jason, I want to ask you about ads. You know, the Hillary Clinton's going to Philadelphia. There's going to be a free concert tonight with Katy Perry. She just released an ad set to Katy Perry's song Roar. That's sort of her big final ad. Donald Trump is closing with a pretty populist Washington anti-insider message. I watched them both. They're both pretty good. What's the effectiveness of these, and how do you think these will go over?
Well, they're not that effective because who's watching ads this late? I mean, this is the thing about
the. I mean, I watch them because we watch them. That's what we do. But I do wonder.
Yeah, the thing about these ads is, you know, at this point they're reinforcing the decisions that people have already made, right? Like the last time that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton really got to make a message that people were going to hear was probably before last weekend. This weekend is all about, as Tara said, can they get their ground game together? Can they get enthusiasm together? And here's the thing, and I think this is important. The reason that you see Hillary Clinton going to places like Pennsylvania, the reason that you see Obama going places like Michigan is, one, it's not just because the polls are tightening, which they are, but these are states that do not have early voting. So enthusiasm is very important because people are only going to be able to vote on one day, and if they run into problems, that could really damage her campaign.
Tara, let's go back to that ground game for a second. In Nevada, you know, as we've been showing people, these voting stations are often in supermarkets, and one Mexican supermarket in Nevada, Cardenas, extended its voting hours because there were so many people. The Clinton campaign is pretty confident that Latino voters can deliver Nevada. We were just talking about this in Florida. Are they confident about it there, too?
I think that Nevada, I think that she's going to win the state of Nevada. Again, I want to emphasize this. I worked on campaigns. Joel Benenson, who's her pollster, I worked with him on campaigns together. And I can tell you, her targeting is based on Joel Benenson's polling. And Joel Benenson did polling in 2012 for President Obama, and we saw how accurate and how spot on his work was. And so, yes, I think they see opportunity in Florida. As was mentioned earlier, you have people talk a lot about Cuban Americans in Florida. They've been talking more talk about Puerto Ricans, but there are other Latinos in Florida as well who are trending very Democratic. And when you look at the influx of people coming in from South America, from Central America, those are people who are turned off by Donald Trump's message. They feel like his message is targeted towards them. And I think that the Clinton campaign is capitalizing on those voters, and that her strategy has been about talking to all of those different voters. And I think that matters, understanding that Hispanics aren't just one group. That matters to people. I'm recognizing the various communities within the Hispanic voting bloc and speaking to them. And also along those lines, something that doesn't get talked about as much, I'd bring it up, is Asian American voters. We've seen Asian American voters trend very strongly Democratic. Starting in 2008, it was very strong, and it got even stronger in 2012. And she's been targeting those voters too, and I think they can make a difference in certain key states.
Like in South Florida, it's a lot of that is a demographic shift from people who were strongly Republican for many years and are shifting over. Tara Dowdell, Rick Tyler, and Jason Johnson, thanks to all of you for joining us. Well, from